Yo, it's KingsDecree. Today I've got a ramble time. The conundrum of nothing to talk about. So lately, and I'm sure quite a few people feel this way as well, but Gwent's been slowed down a little bit in preparation for their big open beta or whatever. The meta game is a little bit stale. You have Golden Henselt. What's the other one? Control Scoia'tael. And I think Spy Nilfgaard is up there, tier 1 or something like that. Gwentelman put a meta snapshot, which I'll link in the description. But basically, it's just a little bit, not my favorite meta. I think I actually almost preferred the previous meta, even though, everything got a little bit more balanced. But, there's not really that much. A big draw for me on tactical and strategy games is that esports or competitive aspect, and right now it's just not there yet. I know there's that big tournament that they're hosting, but I've heard like next to nothing about it. There's no streams. There's been like one Reddit post update, I think maybe from like the actual person that participated or something, but I don't know. And there's not really there's just not really anything going on there. I'd love to be able to crack down on like statistics and like go over matches and like kind of walk through them, and that's something I'll eventually be doing, but at the moment there's just really not that much. Funnily enough, I wrote this bullet point list that I was going to be covering a couple hours ago, and then I checked in on the subreddit today, and they're like, hey man, since there hasn't been a patch and there's no news of a patch, why don't we come up with our own little patch list of what we'd like to see? And that's pretty much what I'm feeling right now. It's been a while since a patch. It's probably going to be a while till a patch, so we're kind of in that in-between zone. Even though true, the last one was pretty big. Maybe it's just because of the community is very flexible, I guess, and like the community is very in tune with the game. It makes the whole thing shakes down so much faster than say something like Hearthstone. After their Angoro expansion could take months to shake out, because there's so many people and not everyone's kind of like varying levels of commitment. But for Gwent, it seems like it's a lot higher. So the meta got pretty on track pretty fast, and that kind of goes back to the other points. So yeah, and that all kind of just lead. And also, I don't want to do gameplay commentaries because outside of like Twitch, where you have that interaction with the community or watchers, viewers, whatever. I just find gameplay commentaries kind of lame, unless you're someone like Trump SC, the Hearthstone guy, who has someone like Jens to really spice up those videos with editing and all that. And Trump is naturally a pretty interesting guy to watch. Not me, not so much. And yeah, so this all just kind of leads to this package where I am finding it difficult to produce Gwent content on a regular basis. That's why like I think I've uploaded like one video in the past week and then like a couple videos in the past month, which is not where I want to be. Like in the description of my videos, right, it says daily videos of such and such, and that's kind of where I want to be, but it's just a little bit difficult at the moment. And that kind of leads into I need to upload stuff daily, and I'm gonna get just a little bit meta here for just a moment, but basically YouTube's YouTube's algorithms vastly promote or exponentially promote videos or channels that upload daily and videos that get lots of watch time within the video. So it's not necessarily a percentage, but actual minutes or seconds being watched, right? That's why you, if you're kind of, you got your, your finger on the pulse of YouTube, a lot of animators are pretty upset with YouTube because they would do great on Newgrounds or something like that, but then they come to YouTube and, they can't compete with hour-long gameplay commentaries, So, and both of those things lead to, if I want to grow my channel, which I do, I need to be able to upload frequent, relatively long content, but at the same time, I don't want to do gameplay commentaries, which is actually why I've taken such a liking to ramble times, which is why I'm probably going to put some more production effort into this. Like I'm gonna try and nail down like a consistent thumbnail and layout, kind of like Richard Lewis. I don't watch him regularly, but every once in a while he'll show up on the CSGO subreddit and League of Legends subreddit, I think. No, not League of Legends, but CSGO, I think. And he has this nice little format where he has his webcam up in the top right, and then he has all his talking points on the left. I kind of want to do something akin to that relatively soon. So marking down this bullet point list. Another thing is I don't want to just jump around games. Like I've already gone from Smite Tactics to Eternal to now Gwent. And the thing is, I did kind of say I'd be floating the idea of going back to Smite Tactics and Eternal. But the thing is, the last game I played, I played my last game of those a long time ago, and I'm not a single, not once have I thought about going back to those games, which is kind of an issue. You know, if I don't want to play those games, I don't want to force myself to do it just because that's kind of what I started with, if that makes any sense. But Gwent, it's a little bit different. I'm definitely going to be sticking with Gwent Thick Thin, because I think it's a revolutionary card game in the world of Hearthstone and Hearthstone knockoffs. So Gwent is going to be a mainstay, but it's not going to be the only thing. Which leads into my solutions. I'm not going to do all this whining and not have a solution. So this is looking towards the future. You know, I was brainstorming like, all right, what am I going to do? I don't want to explicitly, like, if you watch some of the other content creators, kind of in Gwent and related card games and all that, they're you know, a big tagline has been diversifying content, and I want to do that, but also I don't want to use it as a buzzword. But basically, I'm going to be exploring new options in content, not gameplay commentaries, by the way, but actual produced content. So one of the big ones is right now Brawl of Ages. If you don't know, I'll link that in the description as well. Basically, Brawl of Ages is basically Clash Royale, but on Steam. It's free to play, and I always found Clash Royale pretty entertaining. And I actually got relatively high in the ranking ladder. I was probably in the top 10 to 5% or so of players, I think. I was pretty high up there. I think I was one tier below the legendary arena. But then I quit that game and, you know, just never installed it again. Because it got to that point where it was just, you know, you had to put money in or else you couldn't compete. But anyway, so yeah, Brawl of Ages. So basically, I'm thinking about either one of two things. The first thing I'm thinking of, which I'm almost certainly going to do, is a Brawl of Ages review. I actually just recently discovered it. It's still relatively new-ish. It's in early access on Steam. I think it'd be a great time to play it for, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 hours, something like that, somewhere in that range, depending on how much there is to cover. Because I've played Clash Royale, and, you know, obviously I'm very familiar with tactics games, so I don't think it would take too long to really get a handle on the game. But yeah, a review of that, pretty straightforward. It allows me to also practice my non-live content, my produced content. My second option is to do, and I'm a little bit less sure on this one. Second option is the first look or first impressions of it, and then the review. The thing is, I don't really want to double dip on that content like that, but what I may actually end up doing is, for a game I know I'm going to play for a while, like Brawl of Ages, because I'm pretty interested in that format, I'll do a review for that. But if it's something I'm less sure about, but is still new, then I'll do a first look. So, for example, Shardbound. Shardbound is a Kickstarter project, or was a Kickstarter project. It may actually just be an open beta by this point. But Shardbound was it was kind of like Smite Tactics or Final Fantasy Tactics in nature. But I think it used more of like a rounder, more isometric view. No. They both have isometric views. This one's a little bit more close. I think it's kind of hard to explain, but basically it has the kind of same feeling to it, the way you move your units and play spells and, you know, get board control and all that. You know, you play your cards and the unit on the field is, you know, comes to life or whatever. But, you know, I wasn't all that sold on Shardbound. I watched, I think, Day 9 play it for about 2 hours, and I just wasn't all that sold on it. I could do like a first look on it, something like that. I think that's where my distinction is going to be, because I really don't want to do a first look and then a review, because it just feels weird unless I'm going for a very dedicated format on that principle. But for the time being, I don't. And yeah, so that's my plan. So just to recap, you know, there's not much to talk about in Gwent. I still want, Gwent will always be the mainstay of this channel unless it, like, you know, implodes, which is unlikely. I still need to be able to upload semi-regular content. I don't want to just jump around games, which leads me to having Gwent again as the lifeblood of this channel, but then having miscellaneous games show up every once in a while as just one-offs, non-series, just one review or one first look. And also, I also have something else that I'm going to be trying out today. I'll be actually making the video right after this. It's, as you know, as I've said already in this video, I'm having trouble coming up with regular content for Gwent. So basically what I'm going to be going for, and I don't want to do gameplay commentaries again for the 5th time. Sorry. Just want to make sure I got the context in there. I'm going to be doing, I think, 100 game challenge, which is what I'm setting it right now. I don't want to do anything too big, in fear of not being able to actually complete the goal. So I'm starting at 100 right now. So basically I'm going to take a deck like this Radovid control deck, not make any changes to it, not yet, beyond what I've already made, and then do 100 games over the course of at least probably something like a week. And I'll probably put up 2 to 3 videos about it. The first video, the middle video around 50 games, and then the last video after 100. And then the thing is, it will sort of be a gameplay commentary, but with a very specific focus of my thoughts on the deck as it progresses over the course of 100 games, which again, is not that much. Like, I know there are people who are probably playing 100 games a day, but for one specific deck and only that deck. And also it will keep me like focused is what I'm trying to go for. And I don't want to just continue to rag on gameplay commentaries, but again, without that, Twitch integration, it's just, I find it difficult to find myself motivated to do those kind of things. So I want to set myself some goals. And by the end of that 100 game streak, I'm going to be taking stats and kind of have a conclusion or analysis. That's what I'm looking for. Have an analysis about it. So that's this ramble time. I hope I didn't bore you too much with some of this, just, talking out loud that I want ramble time to be. It's not always relevant. It's not always entertaining, but it's just a little bit of an insight into what I'm thinking through at the time. So yeah. And of course, feedback is always welcome. If maybe like you have a particular game you want me to check out, or some kind of analysis or, opinion, whatever, that's what I'm here for. And thank you for watching.